Hello again. Wanted to do a brief video on some things that you hear if you leave Jehovah's Witnesses, if you leave the congregation. You've heard it in the congregation. This religion is perfect. It's just full of imperfect people. Where will you go? You know, they use that scripture in John 6, is it 60, 67, 68. Jehovah's always had an organization. No one else rejects pagan holidays. Who else is doing this kind of work, this scope of work that the witnesses are doing? No one else is doing this kind of work. So I just wanted to address a few of those things, and I'll just start at the beginning. To start, I've heard it so many times from family and friends, this religion is perfect, but it's full of imperfect people. How is this religion perfect? This religion is fraught with errors. So if someone can tell me how this religion is perfect down in the comments afterwards, I'd like to know how it's perfect. I can even name all the ways that it's imperfect, but the religion is not perfect. They call it the truth, so basically they're calling it the Jesus. This religion is just not perfect. All of the errors in their publications, the way that it came about. It's a corporation, you know, that a real estate holding company. Yes, God is using a real estate holding company for his religion in the last days. This is how he's doing it. You know, they're trading stocks and all of these things, all these worldly things, member of the UN. Yeah, he's using that. It's perfect. So anyway, I think we all know that this religion is not perfect, and it's full of imperfect people. At least they'll admit that part. So just because you've heard this religion is perfect, it's just full of imperfect people, just because you've heard it a million times doesn't make it true. Their religion isn't perfect. Plain as that. Not perfect. Where will you go? They use that scripture. Where will you go? John 6, 67 and 8. Therefore Jesus said to the 12, you do not want to go also, do you? Simon Peter answered him, Lord, whom shall we go away to? You have sayings of everlasting life. The Watchtower would have you believe, where will you go to? We have sayings of everlasting life. People said those words to me. Where are you going to go now? We have sayings of everlasting life. I'm like, no, Jesus had sayings of everlasting life. That's where I'm going. So that answers that question. Now, let's talk about God has always had an organization. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. He did have an organized people on earth at times. However, let's think about when Jesus was on earth. And let's think about the people that he healed. The woman with the flow of blood. The children that he resurrected, the paralytic that was lowered down into the roof, the people that had the wedding that he made the wine. There's so many people's lives that Jesus touched. That the Samaritan woman at the well, what organization did all of these people belong to? People that he expelled demons from? And it's funny, when he healed and helped all these people, he said, go on your way. You're healed. Go on your way. He didn't say, you're shackled to me now. You have to be in my organization. They didn't belong to any organization. They weren't related to each other in any way. They weren't affiliated, and they were free to go. They benefited from Jesus' loving kindness and mercy and healing, and they were free to go. So the same thing applies to followers of Jesus today. You don't have to be in some organization. And then two, something to consider is what father calls his children an organization? What loving family father says, this is my organization. Would you like to meet my organization? No. So it's not loving. It's very businesslike. So just regardless of how many times you've heard it, doesn't make it true. He hasn't always had an organization, and he doesn't now. So, who else is doing a work of this scope? No one on earth. Yes, they are. Mormons have way more members, and they do a lot more humanitarian work than witnesses do. Gideon's place way more Bibles than witnesses do. Catholics, pretty much every other religion is as far-reaching, if not many more times far-reaching, and performing powerful works. There, 8 million people for witnesses is a drop in the bucket if you really think about it. But because we're told these things over and over, we believed it. I believed it. Everybody believes it. No one's doing this work. No one's translating. Yes, they are. There are missions going on everywhere that you don't know about. Catholics have billions of members, and the scope of work that they do to help people and charities, just the amount of charities that they do is unfathomable. So regardless of what kind of work you think that is being done, similar or more substantial work is being done by other religious organizations. So not surprising. Even like the deaf and the translation team and everything. I know Seventh Day Adventist, maybe, or it might be Pentecostal. They really cater to other languages in the deaf community. I mean, they have buses and they go pick them up, and they really go the extra mile for people with disabilities or who speak different languages to make sure that they get the Bible's message. So witnesses aren't doing the most. No one else rejects pagan holiday traditions. Well, neither do witnesses. They say that they do, but they just call them by other names and do it on a different day. Or if it's your kid's birthday, it's Sammy Day. I've seen super self-righteous witnesses on their kid's birthday say, well, it's Jamie Day. And it's like, for real? Because you're just celebrating their birthday and calling it their day anyway. So what's the difference? You're straining out the gnat and swallowing down the camel. Same difference. And you kind of pick and choose, There are things that witnesses do that have pagan origins, There's really, in our society, you can't escape it. There's so many things with pagan roots and origins. You're just not going to get around it. But I feel like the witnesses have chosen things that are divisive to families that are non-witnesses. They pick and choose what they want to celebrate and not celebrate. Regardless, they do pick and choose what they want to celebrate. They just call it something else. I mean, if you can do baby shower and anniversary and all that, what's the difference? So anyway, just wanted to bring out a few of those things. That's what you hear right out of the gate whenever you are either disfellowshipped or disassociated. Though it's no doubt your family members are saying these things to you, and they're just because you've heard them 1,000 times doesn't make them true. They're just not true. So just wanted to make a short video. Hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos this week. I do have other topics, but it's storming pretty loud. So we will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.